The afternoon sun filtered through the kitchen windows as I watched my daughter, Emma, practice her violin. She had her father's concentration, that same furrow between her eyebrows when she focused. At 12 years old, she was becoming her own person, thoughtful and kind in ways that made my chest ache with pride. We'd worked hard to get here. Years of therapy, of advocating in schools, of teaching her that being different wasn't being less. My phone buzzed on the counter. Mom's name flashed on the screen. I hesitated before answering. "Sarah, you're coming to Jessica's graduation party this Saturday, right?" Her tone was brisk, expectant. "Of course. Emma's been looking forward to it." My daughter had marked it on her calendar 3 weeks ago, counting down the days. There was a pause. Not a comfortable silence, but the kind that preceded difficult conversations. "Actually, I need to talk to you about that." Something in her voice made me tense. "About what?" "It would be better if Emma stayed home this time. Jessica's friends from the academy will be there, and you know how these things are. Lots of important families." My stomach dropped. "Mom, what are you saying?" "I'm saying your daughter doesn't exactly fit in with that crowd. It's nothing personal. Jessica worked hard to get into that school. We can't have anything awkward." I gripped the phone tighter. "Awkward? She's your granddaughter. She's also autistic, Sarah. She makes those noises sometimes, and the rocking thing. Jessica's Princeton recruiter might be there. We need everything to be perfect." The words hit me like cold water. This was my mother. The woman who'd held Emma as a baby, who'd claimed to accept the diagnosis. I looked at Emma, still absorbed in her music, unaware that her own grandmother was trying to erase her from family events. "We'll both be there, Mom. See you Saturday." I hung up before she could respond. Saturday arrived with perfect weather that made everything worse. Emma wore her favorite blue dress with sunflowers. She'd been talking about seeing cousin Jessica all week, practicing what she'd say. The party was in full swing when we arrived. My sister's backyard was transformed with white tents and string lights. I spotted Mom near the dessert table in her cream suit, holding court with well-dressed women. Her eyes widened when she saw us. She excused herself and walked over quickly, her smile tight. "Sarah, I thought we discussed this." "We did. I said we'd be here." Before she could respond, Emma spotted the buffet table and headed toward it, hands flapping with excitement. I saw Mom's jaw clench. "She's stimmying in front of everyone," Mom hissed. "People are looking." I glanced around. No one cared except Mom. "She's happy, Mom. That's what happy looks like for her." Mom walked away without another word. The party continued, but I felt her eyes on us constantly. Emma filled her plate and found a quiet corner. She sat contentedly, eating while watching the other kids play volleyball. She didn't try to join them. An hour passed. Emma finished eating and started humming softly, one of her comfort behaviors when processing social situations. The sound was barely audible, a gentle melody, but Mom materialized beside us as if summoned by some invisible alarm. "Sarah, she needs to stop that. She's not hurting anyone. She's making a scene. People are staring." I looked around. No one was paying attention to us except Mom. "Maybe you're the one making a scene," I said quietly. Her face flushed. "How dare you? After everything I've done for this family, you bring her here when I specifically asked you not to." "Her? She has a name, Mom." Emma's humming had stopped. She was looking at us now, her expression uncertain. She could always sense tension even when she couldn't fully understand it. "I want you both to leave." Mom's voice was rising. "This is Jessica's special day and I won't have it ruined." "We're not ruining anything. Get your daughter out of my house." The words came out as a scream. The volleyball game stopped. Conversations died. Everyone was staring now. Emma's face crumpled. She understood that much. "She's not welcome here." Mom's face was red, her finger pointing at Emma like an accusation. I took Emma's hand. It was trembling. "We're leaving," I said, my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. "But understand this, Mom. You just made a choice. Live with it." Emma cried in the car. Not loud sobs, but those quiet tears that somehow hurt worse, the kind that came from the deep understanding that she was being rejected for something she couldn't change. She didn't ask why Grandma hated her. She'd stopped asking those kinds of questions a year ago, after too many painful experiences had taught her that some people would never accept her differences. When we got home, I held her while she rocked on the couch, her way of self-soothing when the world felt too harsh. I didn't try to stop the movement or calm her with words. I just held her and let her process in her own way. My phone started buzzing within an hour. Mom's number lit up the screen. I declined the call. She tried again 2 minutes later and again 5 minutes after that. The calls came in waves throughout the evening, each one ignored. Finally, at 9:30, a text message appeared. "You're being dramatic. I was protecting Jessica's event. You should understand that. Call me so we can discuss this rationally." There was nothing rational to discuss. I blocked her number, watching it disappear from my contacts with a sense of finality that was both frightening and liberating. Dad called the next evening, his voice heavy with the weariness of a man who'd spent decades mediating between his wife and everyone else. "Your mother says there was an incident at the party." "There was." She screamed at Emma in front of 50 people and threw us out because Emma was being autistic at her precious event. He sighed, that familiar sound of defeat and resignation. "You know how your mother gets about appearances. She doesn't mean harm, Sarah. She just wants things to go smoothly. I know exactly how she gets. That's the problem, Dad. Emma is 12 years old. She's your granddaughter. And Mom treated her like a defect that needed to be hidden. Maybe give her a few days to cool down. Then you two can talk. Work it out like adults." "There's nothing to talk about, Dad." She made it crystal clear how she feels about Emma. "I'm not subjecting my daughter to someone who sees her as an embarrassment. Sarah, she's your mother. Family is family. And Emma's my daughter. I know which relationship matters more. I know which person deserves my protection." The line went quiet for a moment. Then Dad said softly, "Your mother won't apologize. You know that, right? She never does." "Then we're done." We didn't speak after that. Not for days, then weeks, then months. The silence stretched between us like a widening canyon. Mom's birthday came in late June and went without acknowledgement. I sent no card, made no call, and didn't even think about it until the day had passed. Thanksgiving approached in November and my sister Jessica called, her voice awkward and apologetic, caught between loyalty and fairness. "Mom wants to know if you're coming. Is Emma invited?" She didn't say Emma couldn't come. Did she say Emma could come? Specifically. Silence. "That's what I thought. Tell Mom we have other plans." We spent Thanksgiving with my ex-husband's family. They'd always treated Emma with genuine warmth. His mother asked about her latest special interest, Egyptian mythology, and actually listened to the 40-minute explanation. Christmas came with no call from Mom. I took Emma to see the downtown lights, just the two of us. She held my hand tightly and pointed out her favorite displays, and I realized we were happier without the constant anxiety. January brought Emma's 13th birthday. We had a small party with her 3 close friends, all neurodivergent kids who understood each other perfectly. They played video games and info dumped about their interests and didn't have to mask or pretend to be someone else. Emma blew out her candles with a genuine smile. My phone stayed silent through it all. I'd unblocked Dad's number weeks ago, but he hadn't called either. Mom had probably given him an ultimatum, forced him to choose sides. I knew how that worked in their marriage. February was brutal. The coldest winter in 20 years, everyone said. Pipes froze. Heating bills skyrocketed. Emma and I bundled up in blankets and watched movies, our own little world. Then on a Tuesday evening in early March, my doorbell rang. Emma was at her weekly social skills group. I was alone making dinner. I wasn't expecting anyone. I opened the door. Mom stood on my porch. She looked smaller, somehow older. Her perfect hair was disheveled. She wore Dad's oversized coat over a sweater I didn't recognize. Behind her on the sidewalk sat a large suitcase. "Sarah." Her voice cracked. I stood frozen, my hand still on the doorknob. "I have nowhere else to go." The words came out as a whisper. My mind raced. "Where's Dad?" Her face crumpled. "He's gone. Heart attack. 3 weeks ago." The world tilted. 3 weeks. Why didn't anyone tell me? "I told Jessica not to call you. I was so angry that you didn't come to Christmas. But I thought you'd hear somehow and come anyway. But you didn't." I gripped the doorframe. Dad was gone. He died thinking I'd abandoned him. "The house," Mom continued, her voice empty. "It was in his name. Everything was in his name. I never worked. He handled all the finances. The mortgage wasn't paid off. The life insurance barely covered the funeral. The bank is foreclosing. I have nothing. I should have felt satisfaction. This was the moment from every revenge fantasy. The cruel mother, powerless and desperate, begging at her daughter's door. Dad, I just felt tired. Jessica? I asked. She's in her college dorm. No space. And her roommate? Mom trailed off. I can't live in a dorm room. Your friends. They were Dad's golf buddies' wives. They stopped calling after the funeral. She looked at me, really looked at me for the first time in months. I was wrong. About Emma. About the party. About everything. I know that now. Do you? I kept my voice neutral. Or are you just desperate? She flinched. Both. I'm both. But sitting in that empty house packing Dad's clothes, I kept thinking about what he said before he died. What did he say? He was in the ambulance. They were working on him. He looked at me and said, "You ruined it. You ruined everything with Sarah." Those were his last words to me. Tears streamed down her face now. I lost him and I lost you and I lost Emma and it's all my fault. I know I have no right to ask, but I'm begging you. Please. I have nowhere else to go. I stood there looking at this woman who'd screamed at my daughter, who'd chosen appearances over family, who'd let pride destroy relationships. Emma comes home in an hour, I finally said. Mom nodded, waiting. You're going to apologize to her. A real apology. You're going to tell her exactly what you did wrong and why it was wrong. You're going to do it without excuses or explanations about being stressed or protecting Jessica or any of that. I will. I promise. And if you ever make her feel unwelcome or different or less than again, you're out. I don't care if it's snowing. I don't care if you're sick. You'll leave and never come back. I understand. I stepped aside. You can stay in the guest room. Temporarily. We'll figure out something more permanent later. She picked up her suitcase and walked inside. She looked around our small living room, taking in Emma's art on the walls, her organized collections on the shelves, the sensory-friendly furniture we'd chosen together. You've made a real home here, Mom said quietly. Have Emma and me. She set down her suitcase. I want to be part of it. If you'll let me. I want to learn. I want to do better. The door opened. Emma came in, her social skills instructor waving goodbye. He stopped when she saw Mom. Grandma. Her voice was uncertain. Mom knelt down, making herself smaller, less threatening. Emma, I need to talk to you. I need to say I'm sorry. Emma looked at me. I nodded. I was very wrong, Mom continued. At Jessica's party I was cruel to you. I screamed at you and made you leave, and that was terrible. You didn't do anything wrong. Being yourself is never wrong. I was the one who was wrong. Emma processed this, her fingers tapping her leg. Why were you wrong? Because I cared more about what other people thought than about being kind to you. That's not okay. Family should be kind to each other, especially to kids. I failed at that. Are you going to be mean again? Mom's voice broke. I'm going to try very hard not to be. I can't promise I'll be perfect, but I promise I'll try to be better. Can you give me a chance? Emma looked at her for a long moment. Then she said, Wait, but if you're mean you have to leave. That's fair. They stood in awkward silence. Then Emma asked, Do you want to see my Egyptian mythology collection? Mom smiled, tears still on her face. I'd like that very much. As Emma led her grandmother toward her room, already launching into explanations about Anubis and the weighing of hearts, I leaned against the wall and let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. This wasn't a happy ending. Mom had a long way to go to earn back trust. She'd have to prove through actions, not words, that she'd changed. There would be difficult conversations ahead, boundaries to set, disappointments to navigate. But maybe, just maybe, it was a beginning.